Greetings, listeners, and welcome to The Spiritual Experience, a show where we share stories of life, love, and redemption for all of humanity on Earth. So sit back and enjoy. Try to identify with the speakers and not compare. Don't forget to subscribe on all podcast platforms. I'm your host, Jay Lewis, and here we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Spiritual Experience. We are back. Another episode. Just had a lovely weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the last installment. It was awesome. We got some good stuff coming this week. Excuse me. We have, what do we got? We got my homegirl Liad. Her episode's going to drop probably like... I don't know. I think Friday. Yeah, Friday her episode's going to drop. It was a nice conversation. There's a religious Jewish girl from Borough Park who, she got it in. And she's sober. And she's doing it. And, it's working. It's working, and she takes the program pretty seriously. But, coming from that environment, it's a very interesting story, because, we tend to think that, other people are just other, and that's really not the case. This, not only does this disease really, thank you. Yeah, not only does this disease really, it crosses all boundaries, but also just like, anything else, Yeah, Orthodox Jews or religious Jews or Muslims, or whatever, anybody else, we all deal with the same stuff. We're human beings. We're trying to make it on this planet. It's not easy. It's not really hard, I guess. I don't know. I have it so good. I really do. I have it really good. And it's only because, I was thinking about this the other day when I was saying to myself, wow, I really am grateful. I'm grateful that that I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict in recovery, because I have somewhere to go. I have people who I belong to. I have my own brood. I have people that I know they understand me. Any day of the week, any time of the day, there's somewhere where I can go and hang out and have a good time and do constructive work. A lot of people, they may think oh my God, you got to go to meetings all the time. And let me tell you, man, AA meetings are the best thing on earth. You get to spend an hour hanging out with your friends and working on yourself a little bit and being reminded of, and being honest. That's what happens at meetings. You get to go there and just be honest and say, listen, I hate my life right now, or I hate myself right now. And people will say, oh, I understand. I hate myself sometimes too. And what can we do to get out of that? And sometimes we just have to let it pass. A lot of times, really my misinterpretation of life will bring on all those feelings. I'm not going to say battling with this depression the last maybe month or so, but it's been off, on, in ways that are manageable, I guess. The big thing for me, I know I talk about it all the time, is exercise, man. That's the way for me. I don't know why. I can pray for relief. But I have to put the work in. I got to do something. I have to do something that I hate to do every day, but I know that it's beneficial to me. I have like this little voice inside of me, and it's very loud some days where it's like, no way, man. Like, start making excuses. Do not do that. Don't make those phone calls that I have to make. Don't, and not just like, I mean, phone calls that are, everybody's got tough phone calls that they got to make. Everybody's got things that they have to show up for. And I hate doing that. I fucking hate it. I hate showing up, And, but I love like the results. I can't say I hate showing up. That's wrong. The bad part of my brain is like the worst thing that you could ever listen to. I can't listen to it all the time. It's like, it just wants me to lose. Yeah, I'm stuck with this brain that just wants me to feel like shit all the time and wants me to, it just wants me to like kind of suffer. And suffering for me is just kind of like existing, enduring life and just the mundane. And there's no gratification for me. Like, I don't get any of those serotonin bumps from just getting up, going to work, doing what I got to do, come home, be with the kids, like watch TV, go to sleep. Like, bro, I would hang myself if that was my life. Okay, because it's not enough for me. It actually sounds, and I'm sorry if that's your life, but for me, it's like very ungratifying. I want to try and be happy, and so I have to do things that make me happy. It makes me happy when I conquer that voice, whether it's on the treadmill. I ran to the gym last week. It was bad. I was just like, dude, I don't know if I even shared it already. Who fucking knows anymore? Who knows anything? Some days, every day is the same day. And, it was bad. I ran to the gym and I shook myself out of it in 1 hour. And the more that I'm consistent with doing that kind of stuff, I ride the Peloton bike. If I do that in the morning, I have such a better day when I conquer that voice, that just says, no, man, don't do anything. Go and get an egg sandwich or something, and just all of those little embers of fires that are burning everywhere in your life that you have to be accountable and show up for. Just ignore them for another day. But for me, those days turn into weeks and months, and it sucks. It really sucks. And, I have to ask myself, who do I want to be? Because I can't end it all. That's not in the cards for me. And I want to be a good example to my kids and other people that, they can do it too. And it's good because, like, when it works, it really works. And then I win. And then I'm happy. Then I have a good life. Then I'm like, oh, man, I do have a good life. It's just those moments. I have to just face those moments head on. And I can't, honestly, it's very rare, extremely rare that I could do it on my own. I have to, dude, when you got to go to your woman or your partner or your whatever they are to you and be like, I am feeling low today. That's like, it's taken me, I don't know, I think I've only really been able to do that in the last maybe 2 years of my life. I'm like, I'm like depressed or something, and, but not like in a self-pitying way, just in an honest way. Say, hey, listen, if I'm a little bit off, it's because of this. But I still got to suit up and I got to show up and I got to handle my business because people depend on me. And it's nice to be honest with you. It's nice to have people depend on me because I'm dependable, not because like I've collected people throughout my life who are in a position where they need to depend on me. Like, no, man, I'm I have partners in all areas of my life. Everybody's my partner, from the guys that I work with to, my home, in the meetings, any person that I call or that I don't call, people that I'm rooting for online. Like, I go on Facebook or something, or Instagram, and I do my best to like everybody's pictures and everybody's things. That's what I do. Oh, finally, nicest guy paid. I do my best to throw out good vibes out there, man. I know what it's like to be sitting there and then somebody's like, oh, I like this thing. Like, because it takes 1 millisecond to like somebody's shit. And I'm not saying that I do things for likes. I do things to help people, and if they like it, okay. But I know that there are people out there that those likes, it makes them feel good. I know it's not going to hurt them. I know that when I scroll past something, if I'm following you on social media, that means that you are in my life to me. And maybe I'm delusional. What do I know? But if I'm following you, that means I'm interested in what you're doing with yourself, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. And I'll try and like everything that I can. It's very rare. Like, it's a good litmus test for me about how I'm feeling about the planet and how I'm feeling about my life, is when I scroll past something and I don't even like it. I don't have to agree with everything, but I can just say, hey, man, that's cool. And I hit the button. I don't have a lot of things that are there's not a lot of conflict in my life. The conflict is really with myself. Periodically, I have the conflict, and I still get a little bit nervous when there's conflict, because how do you handle that kind of thing effectively? There's a couple of instances that happened. All right, so Valentine's Day, right? This is funny. Valentine's Day. So I'm in the car, and even though I ended my day early at work, whatever, I'm in the car, and what's happening? I'm parked there, and I have like these big chocolate bars that I'm bringing home and this other stuff, right? The house that I grew up in, everybody got cards on every holiday, like Valentine's Day, birthdays, or like whatever. Like, I don't know why my parents were so into that. And it's nice, but every holiday, so we're very card giving family, and we give each other mugs like, I have more coffee mugs in my apartment than we have space for, because it's like a thing. I see a mug that reminds me of one of my kids or my boo, and I just get it. And I'll have like this little saying or something on there or whatever. Yeah, we have a lot of mugs. I don't know where that tradition came from. Anyway, so I got the cards. I even buy the cards for my kids to give to their mom, because they don't be going to the store and doing that kind of stuff all the time. Plus, they got school, whatever, and it's fine. So I do that, and I'm in the car, and I'm filling out the cards. And I got some gift cards and chocolate and other goodies and shit. One of my youngest kid, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but they love Chef Boyardee. Chef Boyardee. So I got them like a can of Chef Boyardee, and I put it in like a little gift bag with some stuff for like, another gift card for whatever, a little makeup store. No, Claire's or something, where they buy their jewelry, And either way, so I'm filling out all the stuff. I'm having my little 15 minutes to get all my shit together after doing a little bit of running around, big chocolate bar, the whole thing. I keep saying chocolate, but yes, chocolate. And then like in the car behind me, right, all of a sudden there's like four high school kids or something. Yeah, it's about high school time. And there's four of them. And they're behind the car. They're by the car that's behind me. And like I see them looking in the car. I'm like, oh man, these guys are going to try and break into this car. Then I thought maybe it was one of their cars. You know, when I was in high school, I had a car. And man, this kid, like, he kicked the door of the car in like frustration or something, kicks it. And I'm like, fuck. You know, I can't unsee that, right? And then another kid goes back by the trunk and he kind of just like shakes the car up and down. And I'm like, oh my God, man. Then I start to do the analysis. I pull out my phone. I'm like, dude, I have to like, oh man, what am I going to do now? I got all these cards and all this stuff, right? And this is such a disruption. So I'm like, if I get out of the car, I don't know. In reality, those of you who know me know that I am 5'7" with Timbs on. And I had my Timbs on, I think. Oh no, I had the Fila. So I'm 5'6" this day. I'm like, dude, I can definitely, I'll put two of them to sleep. They're high school kids, but the other two are gonna do something to me, whatever. Or maybe they'll get, I don't know. I'm doing the math, right? So I pull out my phone. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just call the fucking police, like a dweeb, you know, like a beta. I'm gonna call the police. Yeah, there's four kids, you know, kicking a car behind me. And then I said to myself, and this is all like happens within like 30 seconds. And I'm like riddled with fear at the same time. I'm saying to myself, okay, well, what if somebody was kicking my car? What would I want somebody else to do? And then by the time this whole conversation happens to myself, they just walk off. You know, so they kicked the door of the car once and they shook the car or whatever. Bounced it up and down on the shocks. And they walked off. And let me tell you something. I didn't do anything. And then I finished filling out my cards and everything. And all I did was just punish myself walking to my house. Like, look at you. This is who you are now. Now you're the guy who has to think about what he's going to do before he does it. Are you the same guy that used to not be that guy? He's the same guy who almost attacked a man in a supermarket. You know, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or something, because he thought I was trying to cut the line, and then he tried to hit me with the cart, and I went after him or something. I forgot how that was. My son was there. It was a funny day. But look at me now. Look how far I've fallen down, you know, in the, what do you call it? Like, I guess like the caste system of the alpha jungle thing. Now you're this guy. And, yeah, man, it was like a 2-block walk, because in Brooklyn, if you find a spot within 2 blocks of your apartment, you got to take it at that time of the day. You know, it was like almost like early evening. And man, I felt like such a fucking loser. I did. And then I went home and it was bothering me. And then I told my partner, I was like, yo, you would not believe what just happened. And then I'm over here almost like not going to tell the truth and be like, oh, well, or whatever thing. But the truth is like, no, man, like I did the analysis. And I guess I was scared, you know. And then I guess I was scared, and I guess I was scared, and I was ashamed. And then I told her, and then it stayed with me a little bit, and then I let it go. It was Valentine's Day. We had a great time. Yeah, so that happened. And the next day I spoke to Liam, who's also my lawyer, aside from being one of my best friends. And he's like, dude, you did the right thing. I was like, I know I did the right thing, you know? He's like, yeah, man, what happens? You get out of the car, one or two things going to happen. They're going to run, or you're going to have to do something, right? And they're high school kids. And he's reminding me, he's like, that's what you're supposed to do. You know? You punch one of them in the face and he gets hurt or something. So, you know, you're talking about the disruption. That's a huge disruption, man. This is not 1993. I know there's cameras everywhere. I'm getting out of my own car on a Brooklyn street near a school, punching out kids. That's a big no-no. You know, I end up going to jail for a day or whatever. Then there's no Valentines. Then there's no nothing. Then whatever happens after that, maybe the whole thing cost me $5,000 or something. You know, if I hurt one of them. And, yeah. So he reminded me, he's like, dude, man, you did the right thing. And it's only recently or whatever. Like, you know, sometimes the right thing just doesn't, it doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm soft. It feels like whatever. You know? And it's it's tough. It's tough. I gotta make it to myself. Say, okay. Then, because here's the problem. This is the other problem. The other problem is, like, it reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to really be scared. And then I would have to prove to myself that I'm not scared by doing that thing. You know, they say, okay, well, I can't be scared. You know, you can't be, like, I wasn't allowed to be scared in my house. Like, you know, so yeah, I couldn't be scared. And anytime I got scared, I couldn't handle that anxiety, and I would just, like, react. And let me tell you, we got the, you know, I didn't come up, what did I say? How can I say this? I got the short end of that stick plenty of times. A few times, I came out on top, like, you know, I was like, woo. But, you know, a lot of other times that, you know, you fight or whatever in the street, it's whatever, man. It's whatever. And that shit is like, that in itself is a disruption. And I don't have time for that when I really think about it. But in the moment, you know, maybe I said it, I think, in the beginning of this show, that I still have that one resentment of the kid that stole my headphones in the 7th grade, Pierre. And some of that stuff stays with me, man. And it's still with me now. You know, apparently it is. It's like, dude, you are not, you know, I'm talking to him. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to my baseball coaches or whatever, or my dad, telling myself, Jared, you are not a pussy, man. It's funny because my daughters like when I use that word. They think it's funny. I know it's offensive to some of you, and I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry if that's offensive. I got to stop. I don't really use that word that much, but that's the word that, you know, I'm like, no, man, apparently I'm smart because my time, you know, is worth more than whatever. So maybe I do call the police. Now I'm like a citizen. I'm a taxpayer. You know, I have things to lose aside from just my time, but just, yeah. Come on, you know, because then I end up in jail, right? Even if, let's say they come, they lock me up, they Maybe I get desk appearance ticket depending on how bad somebody's hurt. Because I know that I might be like I might be so scared because there's 4 of them. I might bring something with me and hit them with it, you know? Or just like if they don't run, then I have to prove to myself. So, yeah. So then what happens? Then I end up in jail with real tough guys, you know? And then what? You know? Oh, man. I got to take a pause. Hang on. Somebody's calling. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Somebody was dropping something off. Yeah. Yeah, so like, you know, I guess I have shit to lose if I'm going back to what we were talking about. And it's nice. It's nice to have things to lose. You know, it really is. It's nice to have things to lose and to have that perspective at the same time, you know, just you have that inner conflict I have with myself about those things. So that happened. And then, what else? Oh, then there was this other guy. Oh my God, this guy was, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. You know, I am in the service business. Okay. Not too specific because I don't want some animal going and doing whatever, trying to disparage my company name where people depend on me. But I'm in the service business and I do work in people's homes. And you do that long enough and you will get an idea of different cultures that behave in a very similar fashion because it's cultural. It's not like racism, like, oh, I think I'm better than this or whatever. And I think that's another thing that people like, you know, just because like, it's like, oh, just because I disagree with something doesn't mean that I'm racist or something or whatever. Or vice versa, you know. Just because I want to question how good the vaccines work doesn't mean that I'm an anti-vaxxer, you know. I have the right to question. Just like I have the right to judge situations and those things or whatever, or people. Or I just have the right to my own experience and my own opinions. And you know what? Sometimes I'm wrong. And sometimes, most times in these situations, I am not. Either way. So, you know, I get a call from a client's having a problem with one of my guys or whatever. And my guy never has problems with anybody. My workers, they're incredible. They're professional. They're polished. They do the best job that we can. When something goes wrong, we fix it. I have one rule. The rule is you have to be nice. That's the rule. No matter what. And I don't let anybody disrespect my staff. They are an extension of me. Everybody is an extension of me. So you do not talk to them in a way that you wouldn't talk to me. And it's funny because, like, you know, maybe that it's like, where was that energy when the kid was kicking the car, right? But either way. Anyway, so the guy's calling me and he's like, I don't know what's wrong with your worker, blah, blah, blah. And then I can hear my guy like barking in the background, like, what is going on over here? So whatever. I said, listen, I'll be over there in 15 minutes. The guy, he can leave. It's okay. You know, don't collect any money or anything like that. We'll figure it out. So I get there. And number one, I knew that this guy was going to be like, he was going to be a yenta. That's what I knew. Just from his profile. And, you know, my job is to kind of sniff these things out. So I was like, oh, this guy fits the profile of somebody who's going to be a pain in the ass. And guess what? I was right. So the profile is what? the guys, like, I don't even want to say guy because I don't want to misgender him, but he is a gay person, a gay white rich person who is an interior designer. And I'm saying this because people who are interior designers are like people who are on keto. They let you know. You don't have to ask them. They're like, I'm a designer and I'm on keto and whatever. You know. So to me, it doesn't matter what kind of job anybody has. It just doesn't. When it comes to work or our business, we treat everybody the same. I have super impressive, what on paper would be impressive clients, and I have regular mom and pop people who live in Sheepshead Bay, and they all get the same service. They all get the same thing. We do the best we can. We show up on time. Nobody smells like cigarettes. We don't lie. And that's it. Either way, so, when I get to the building, and I have a lot of clients in this building, oddly enough, a lot of them. So they know me there, the doorman. And I'm there in my regular clothes, because this happened it was like an unforeseen event. I'm going to call it that. So whatever, I show up to the doorman. He's like, what's going on? I said, I got to go up to this unit number. My guy had a problem with the guy, and the doorman says, I hope this is not a situation where the customer is always right. And I knew, because I already knew, A, he had the profile, B, when I was communicating a little bit with him before, somebody if you hire a professional, you can't be like a know-it-all. I hate that. And especially, again, he's like, I'm a designer and all this stuff, whatever. So he can't wait to tell me who, and he's like, oh, I'm arguing. He's like, I don't understand what's wrong with your guy. And, he's so, whatever. He's not saying he's aggressive, because he definitely wasn't. And he had every right to be if he, whatever. But he was upset. He's like, I don't understand what's wrong with his attitude. And he was doing such a good job. And I was going to tip him $100 and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, we don't care that you're going to tip somebody $100. You have to talk to them with respect and with dignity and with integrity. That money doesn't matter to us on any level, because we don't need it, And meanwhile, when he first booked the job with us, and I gave him this price, I don't know, what did I tell him? It's like $675 for us to come and do some stuff in his house. And he right away was like, okay, let's do a deal for $600. And by the way, I'm an interior designer, so I can get you all of these clients and all of this stuff. And I'm like, bro, listen, none of that fucking matters. None of it matters. So this is the price. This is what you pay. This is what I'm saying to myself mentally. I'm taking the mental notes, but I'm professional enough to say, okay, look, this is what we do. If you are an interior designer, and we've heard this story so many times that I want to throw up every time somebody tries to throw that at me. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to lose money because you're an interior designer? Is that what that means? I don't understand even why somebody would even say that, because basically he just wants, I don't know what he wants. He wants money off. He wants you to come in there and work hard, and then he wants to beat you up over the price or whatever. So what I say to them is, I say, it's fantastic. You're an interior designer. We have so many that are clients. So what we do is, any of your client that you recommend to us, I will give you a 10% commission on whatever jobs we book with them. Yeah, crickets. They never, ever do that. But that's how I get them to say, okay, I'll pay the full price. Because I don't like to haggle. Who the hell wants to haggle? You know? There are certain, again, going back now with haggling, there are cultures that culturally they will haggle no matter what. Let me tell you. An East Indian lady will call. The men will never call. I don't know why, but the East Indian lady will call. And no matter what price you give them, they say, oh, that's too much. No, let's do this. You know, because it's in their culture to haggle. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean anything. But that's like their culture, you know, to haggle. Who else haggles? Oh, Israelis, of course. Are you kidding me? Forget it. They say, oh, okay, wait, you're being a little bit rough with me. That's the way they say, you're being a little bit rough. You know, that's their thing. So they haggle that way. Our best clients are our best clients. The ones that give us the least amount of, I wouldn't say the least. Okay, best clients meaning that they will pay top dollar and give you no problems, and it's very, like, all the heavy lifting will be done, and, you know, are gay men. Gay men are incredible. I love them when it comes to doing business. They're meticulous, and they're pretty good, specifically if they have kids, right? If you got a gay couple with kids, bro, they're the best to work for, you know? Yeah, so there's that. So even though this guy's a gay guy, but he's an entitled designer, which means nothing to me. It just means what? You know how to pick color palettes because you don't know anything about fabrics. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. So, but that, you know, somebody is like ball washing you and thinking that you're some wizard. You know, meanwhile, interior designers specifically recommend items for your home, or homes. Maybe you have more than one if you got a designer, you're hiring them. Everything that they recommend to you is because they're getting a piece of that thing. Whether it's wallpaper, chandeliers, tables, beds, rugs, couches, anything, they're getting a piece of that, aside from whatever fee you're paying them. That's the only reason. They're not doing it because of anything other than that they have a deal with a vendor. That's why. They are not your friends at all. Anyway, so this guy's like an entitled whatever. So I get there, and yeah, man, he was he wasn't nice to me. He wasn't nice. And I said, okay, what's the problem? He tells me the problem. I say, listen, I'm going to, you know, number one, the guy who you're talking about has been with us for a long time. This has never happened, not once. And they get the designer was very confrontational with me. I'm trying to explain to him a situation with a solution. And the solution is like, listen, whatever you think is wrong is not really wrong or whatever, but I'm going to fix it. You're going to pay. I'm going to fix it, and it's all going to be okay. And he just wouldn't let it go. And he's just like going back and forth with me. I'm like, dude, you hired me because I'm the expert. Like, I don't have time to argue with you. I'm here to try and remedy a situation, you know? And his ego wouldn't allow it. He's like, I have so many clients and nobody's ever said that I was difficult. And I'm like, bro, in my mind, I'm like, dude, the doorman and the porters just told me before when I was on my way up. Obviously, I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But I'm like, dude, you were difficult with me booking the job. You're difficult with my guy here. And now I'm here and you're being difficult with me. But I was like, they're lying. I broke character for a minute. I said, listen, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. But I know that this is the type of guy that people will hire so he can just torture workers. And I said, look, you know what? I'm just going to walk. And I left the stuff there. I said, you don't have to pay us. I'm going to walk. You can if you think that we damaged something, we did something, you can chase me. It's no problem. You see all of this paperwork and all of my insurance and all of my stuff that you signed before I walk in here? Some of it absolves me of the other things that you're accusing me of, which is didn't even happen. But even if it did happen, this absolves me of that. You know? Meanwhile, I'm over here in my mind. I'm like, dude, I'm going above and beyond trying to be a good business person and be a good human. And dude, maybe this guy's having a bad day, but he had a bad day like 4 days. You know, every interaction was a problem. So I just walked away. And while we were there, and he's going back, and this is like, 10 minutes, which is a long time to be sitting there going back and forth with somebody who's being very adversarial and being very condescending. Because maybe he's used to telling people what to do and they just listen. He's an interior designer. Maybe he hires some contractors, or maybe he gets some wallpapers, some tables, and the delivery guys, he talks to them like shit. I don't know. But he was even more mad that I didn't care and I wasn't going to take it. And there's nothing he can do, and it made him even more mad. And I was like, wow. I didn't think once, to punch this guy in his face. I didn't think about it one time. And that's what was funny to me. I was like, dude, I'm like this. I'm a whole new person. And it doesn't even mean that maybe I would have done it, but I didn't even think to do it. I was just like, listen, I am in the driver's seat, and that's so nice. It's so liberating, so freeing to be in the driver's seat. When nobody can really tell me what to do. Now, sometimes I am at the mercy of other people. Let's say I have a vendor that I'm dealing with, or somebody that's doing some work for me, and they're taking very long. And I have a situation like that right now, where they're taking very long to do something for a client of mine. And it's crazy now. Not crazy, but to me it's crazy. And the only thing I can do is just be honest with the client. Say, listen, these people are handling this part of the project for us. They are taking a very long time. We are at their mercy, and I'm sorry. Everything is going to end up okay. They're being flaky about the timeline, and the only thing that I can do is just apologize, take accountability, and I'm sorry. I know everything is going to work out okay, but I'm not going to charge you for this thing, and that's it. And that's it. And I hate that, because every time the phone rings when it's this lady, and I know that that portion of her project is not finished, I get a little anxious. But then I just say, hey, listen, honesty is the only thing I can do. I can just be honest and say, look, I'm going to go see them again tomorrow, see how far along they are. And that's it. And I'm sorry. And if she gets angry and she yells at me, whatever, I have to eat that shit. And that's okay. But for this other guy, I don't have to eat anything, because I know we didn't do anything wrong. And even though we didn't do anything wrong, I was still trying to be okay and make it right. And it wasn't happening. I got to take a sip of this Gatorade G0. Let me tell you something. I made a mistake before today. I was in this pie shop up on Myrtle Avenue. And I was going to get a cappuccino, and I try not to get like Starbucks cappuccinos and that kind of stuff when I can avoid it, and I try to buy like local or whatever, what appears to be local, somebody owns it that's not like a chain. But even then, you never know with all that stuff. So I go in this place and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get me a cappuccino. I'm going to smoke a cigar. I'm waiting for some stuff in the laundry. And they had pie. And I was like, oh my God, so if I don't get out of here quickly, I'm going to have to get a piece of this pie. And I got it. And it was key lime meringue pie, which was like, it was really good. It wasn't the best I ever had. I never had key lime meringue. I've had lemon meringue. I've had key lime pie. Now, best key lime pie I've ever had, oddly enough, came out of my own home. My girl makes it. She made it in replica of this place that we get it in Bensonhurst on Butchie's. Even though I don't think they're there anymore. I think they moved somewhere else on Butchie's. Where the hell are they? But Aunt Butchie's makes the best key lime pie I've ever had in my life. Aunt Butchie's. Let's see where they are. Brooklyn. Oh, yeah, they moved down to 3rd Avenue in Bay Ridge. They used to be in Bensonhurst, 13th Avenue forever. So good. Anyway, so I get this key lime pie. I get it. The girl behind the counter, she's like, oh, you're getting a cappuccino? I said, yes. She's like, do you want is regular milk okay? Do you want oat milk? And now I'm like feeling fancy and shit. So I'm like, let me get the oat milk, and no sugar, whatever, because I'm sweet enough. And let me tell you something. I'm going to pray for those oats that died for that milk, because that was the worst cappuccino I ever had in my life. The key lime meringue pie was like maybe a 6. The one that comes out of my house is actually tied for first place from Aunt Butchie's, and that's like a 12 out of 10. But yeah, do not ever. Yeah, the oat milk. I wasn't being true to myself. I should have been like, yeah, give me the whole milk. I'll take 2 Splendas, extra love. But no, I didn't do that. So I just threw out that cappuccino, and now I'm drinking this Gatorade. I'm trying to wind down my day. Talking to you guys about these interactions, about these conversations I'm having with myself. And about, it's not even who I want to be. I guess who I am. Like, in my mind, I want to be maybe somebody else a little bit. But no, I'm pretty good with who I am after I get all this stuff out and I do some analysis and I see what goes on, So that's important stuff for me. It is. It's important for me. And I have a lot of good things going on in my life. I have good people that love me. I have some negative people. I try to keep them at bay. I love them from a distance. I'm trying to like everybody's stuff on Instagram and Facebook and whatever. What else? Yeah, I have a pretty good life. And, so wrapping up this week, Lead, her episode is going to be the bomb. It's very good. I got some really good stuff going. Tomorrow, I'm going to, this will come out tomorrow. So the day that this comes out, I will be going on a podcast from my childhood friend. What did he call it? He's got a podcast, my childhood friend, my boy. His name is John Baruch. He's an incredible guy. I haven't spoke to him in like 20 years, and we connected because he heard my show. I heard his show. His is called 40 and Fit. And it's about like people who are in their 40s and they're fit, and some of them may be going through midlife crisis. That seems to be a running theme of his, like where are you going to pivot in your life, and what kind of changes you're going to make, and who do you want to be? And, sometimes for us men, we wake up in like our 30s or maybe, almost 40, knocking on 40, and like, dude, it's like coming out of a blackout. Like, yo, I have this life. I don't even like any of this shit. I don't like this job. Maybe I don't like this girl. I don't even like my kids. Like, who am I? And not like in a way that, like, oh, I never loved my children, or I don't like, yeah, like there's this thing, man. It's like a little voice that says, what about me? What about when is it going to be my turn? Especially if you have like a family, it happens. And it's happened to me, and it's obviously happened to him and other people on his show, and everybody's got different degrees of success where, like, listen, it's okay, like, to be down, but you could be down but not out. You got to get up. We help each other as men. And there's a lot of good, positive women who I love that help me in my life, aside from my partner. But, Dr. Rebecca, got my girl Catherine I speak to periodically. I have really good, strong, positive women in my life that help me. Valerie of Nazareth. I miss her so much. I love that girl. And she's a tough cookie, boy. Whoosh. But she's a smart cookie, too. She's a human cookie. One of these days we'll drag her in here. She'll bless us. But either way, so I'm going to go on my boy John's show tomorrow. It's going to be nice. I recorded a show that's going to require some editing. It's such a powerful story. This kid, baby Jasper, and he came into recovery, man. This kid, he got sober when he was like 16 or 17 or something like that. It's such a wild story. It's going to have to be done in 2 parts. I recorded with him yesterday. Yeah, I have to do some editing, cut out some stuff that he doesn't want out there. Nothing crazy, but we don't need to talk about anything that's unnecessary. And sometimes when I sit down with people, we just let it fly. Like how I'm talking right now, that's how it goes. I never edit stuff unless it's like really like bad. Like, sometimes people use language that I can't really put out there. And those things I edit out. But yeah, Jaspy, his story is so incredible, and he's like my son. I love this kid, man, so much. He's the same age as my son, actually. And yeah, he's got an incredible, inspiring life. And he's such a young person. I admire him so much. Yeah. So that's like 2 hours. So I'm going to separate that into 2 episodes, 2 1-hour episodes. And it belongs like in a movie or something. And maybe I'm biased. I even asked my girl that. I was like, dude, maybe I'm biased because I love him so much. But it's really good. It's really good. And then what else do we have on in the hopper? Have my boy, Joe Baldazone. This guy wrote one of the most incredible, effective books that I've ever read in my life. I have it on, I shouldn't say read, because I have an audio book. It's called 50 Things to Do Before Seeing a Psychiatrist and How to Actually Do Them. So we're going to do like a little bit of a book review and some of the chapters and some of those things where, we're not saying that mental illness doesn't exist. It definitely does. That's a fact. But there are things that we can do that are in our control that can lessen our dependency on some of these medications, which are not really, like I said, like I always say, it should be the last thing, not the first thing. We don't need to pacify anybody's greatness or feelings or whatever, because, they don't color inside the lines. Yeah. So there's all these practical things like about, things you can do before before you take that step to put yourself on something that you probably can never get off for the rest of your life. And that's okay too if you're on that. But like, you want to be able to exhaust all efforts, because the thing we always talk about with mental health is like, there's not really, mental health is real, man. Feelings are real, without the right tools, we can't decipher what reality is. I don't even know. Like, think about all the shit that's going on now, all the stuff that's going on. Oh my God, the Ukraine and Russia and Joe Biden and Obama and Osama and everybody. But listen, we don't even know what reality is anymore. I can't definitively say that I believe any of the stuff that comes out. I can't definitively say that, I take everything with a grain of salt. Now there's people who have a history of how can I say it? They have a history of leaving breadcrumbs, to a castle that I want to live in. I don't even know if that makes sense. There's people who've they've earned my respect as far as the information that they disseminate. And, when people are, I believe, to be truthful, and people who are unattached, they don't have anything to gain. They're just trying to be good people, man. David Goggins is trying to be a good guy. He's trying to motivate people to live a healthy life, to face your fears. Bro, if you don't, let me tell you something. David Goggins, his book, Can't Hurt Me, is everything. Everything is everything. But that book, super impactful in my life. How to face myself, like I said, when I have those depressive, nasty, crazy thoughts. When I don't have, I'm fortunate enough that I have a gang of people in my life that I can call. I can start making phone calls right now, and maybe it won't be the first person or the 10th person, but the 110th person, somebody will pick up the phone, and they'll give me 10 minutes of their time to let some of the air out of the balloon, and they will give me constructive criticisms of my interpretations of what's going on in any given situation. And they will give me maybe practical application of how I can navigate. And sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. That's the best thing to do. There was this kid that I spoke to today who I had, listen, I love everybody in AA. I'm sorry. Whatever tradition that says that I shouldn't tell. I tell everybody I'm in AA. I'm in NA when I go to NA. But I love AA. I love NA too. I love all 12-step programs. I am a product of that. If you're listening or if you know me, or if you're getting to know me and there's these things that you admire about how I move, how I am on this microphone is no different than how I am in the diner. This is who I am, This is who I am. Just like that crazy client. It's nice. Nobody can take this away from me. It doesn't exist. So, but these things, I'm a product of the 12 steps. And I'm a product of really good therapy. Because I went to therapy, when I would go for something very specific. I didn't go just to blab. Now I have a therapist I go see every other week. And just to kind of keep the, keep the oil in the engine or whatever. But, so I'm a product of that, So I'm fortunate, man. I have people that I can call and they will help me. And that's nice. But David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, dude, it's an amazing story. And what are people going to say? They're going to say, oh yeah, he was a Navy SEAL and he's a, whatever, somebody who yells, who's a, like an alpha male. And people say that like it's such a negative thing. Dude, everybody an alpha just means that you handle your business. It means that you face yourself and you are dependable and you are reliable. It doesn't mean you can do, 10,000 pull-ups or as a black belt in jiu-jitsu or you're a bully or a Republican, or like none of that. None of that. If you are if you are a gendered male, however, whether you're cisgendered or transgendered, don't matter to me. So if you are a male and you are an honest, upstanding citizen and you are somebody with principles and values that you try your best to not donate in situations or not, sacrifice your principles, you are an alpha male. You are an alpha male. If you are humble enough that you know that you cannot rely solely on yourself, you are an alpha male. The beta is the guy out there that thinks it's all on him. He doesn't have anybody or anything. He's not searching. He's already arrived. That's a beta. That's not an alpha. I'm letting you know right now. I'm letting you know right now. So that book, Can't Hurt Me, is an incredible book. Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership, is an incredible book. His podcast is incredible too. The Jocko Willink podcast. These guys are super impactful and they help. So anyway, this guy, my friend, he's got this book. We're going to get into it. We don't have to do a super deep dive, but, it's going to be good. It's a great book. I promise. It's a great book. And the guy's very hard not to like him. Very hard not to like him. People that don't like him, it's because of how good of a soul he is. People who talk shit about his book online. And I'm like, oh, where's your book? So shut the fuck up. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Sorry for the break, but whatever. I'm just going to splice it together. No edits, no filter, just love and the Lord. All right, guys, peace. Okay, everybody, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the Spiritual Experience. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Pandora, everywhere. And please find us on Facebook where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.